Happy New Year, happy 2024. I can't believe that we're here. It is January again. I hope you had an amazing Christmas and New Year if you celebrated either of those. And I hope that you're having a brilliant first week. But I wanted to be here to talk about my predictions for the Sims 4 content that might be coming this year and just kind of put them to paper. I'm fully prepared to be so wrong in this because I actually kind of don't know where they're going because we got so many packs last year. Too many packs, I would say, to be honest, too many. But we got so many packs last year. I have actually written them all down. These are the packs that we got in 2023. 3 expansion packs, 1 stuff pack, and 8 new kits. I actually kind of like kits, so I'm not too mad about that, especially build kits. I use them so much. I think I'm bored of all the base game items and the items that have been in the game for so long. So having clutter kits and new things and the book nook kit is beautiful and the modern luxe, I love all of those. I do like kits. 8 feels a lot though. That is £40, $40 worth of content in just tiny little portions. That's a lot. I don't get all of the Kaz kits, so I don't have the Grunge Revival kit and I don't have the Symptomates kit, but I do really like the Pool Splash kit. So there have been some good ones in there. There have been some that I don't actually use, so you can tell me if you like them. I'm going to be honest with you, I've heard nothing about the Grunge Revival kit. I've never been like, hey, where's that item from? And someone says that it's the Grunge Revival kit. So I don't know if you use that one, but I've heard nothing about it. The others I do all have though, and I have made a couple of videos on For Rent and a few other things. There were some misses, there were some hits in that list. Growing Together was obviously such a big one. It brought infants to us, and I do kind of like infants. I find them easier than toddlers. And actually going through the whole Growing Together pack, which I've only done once this year because I started a 100 baby challenge, is so cute when they start like pulling themselves up and they start like babbling and talking and like crawling around and interacting with dogs and cats and everything else. It is really cute, so I have really enjoyed that pack. Horse Ranch was probably one of my favorites because it brought horses. There were definitely a few things missing in this, but I actually found that this was the least buggy pack of all of them. Maybe Home Chef Hustle. Home Chef Hustle was smaller, so it didn't come with as many bugs, but Horse Ranch I think was the least buggy expansion pack, and considering we got 3, there were quite a few bugs in Growing Together. Let's not forget the loose tooth era where Sims would just go to a dark hole and you couldn't get past it. That was bad. And For Rent, I'm gonna make an entirely new video on this, but this is not going well. It is not going well at all. For me personally, and I know a lot of other people, you know, it's really, there's gonna be a whole video on that because I'm not happy. It's been a big year, but what I've really been thinking about is the fact that if you asked me 3 years ago when Pets had come out, what 3 packs I wanted, I would have told you these 3 things. And this is 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 6 months ago, I would have told you these things. I wanted a Generation Style, which was the Sims 3 pack to come to the Sims 4. That was Growing Together. I wanted horses, because I'm the biggest horse girl if you don't know. That came in July. And then my final thing that I wanted to be a landlord. And that obviously came in December. That's the newest pack. So every single thing that I ever wished for over the last 3 or 4 years came true in 2023, which kind of leaves me to a place of what's next. They've pretty much replicated every single Sims 3 expansion pack that we had, other than the Into the Future one and kind of World Adventures, but we do have Jungle Adventure for that, which is kind of similar. So they don't have anything to really go back and redo. So I'm kind of sat asking, what are we going to get next? What do I want? What do I think that they're actually going to give us? And I have heard a few whispers from around the community of things that you do want. So my predictions for 2024 is taking a little bit to get to this point in the video, but hi, we're here. I think there's a huge chance that we do not get another expansion pack. I do think that there would be one if there's going to be one. I don't feel like there's going to be multiple because 1, what are they going to give us? And 2, each expansion pack takes a year. They all have individual teams working on the expansion packs from everything that I can gather. And to have 5 teams working over like a year's period from the time that Growing Together got released to a second expansion pack coming out in the year of 2024, that's kind of 5 teams almost working in tandem, and I think that that's probably too many. So 1, maybe because they're definitely showing us that they want to focus on expansion packs, but what I do think we're going to have is 2 game packs in 2024 if they're going to keep on with this release schedule, which is a very, very chock-a-block release schedule. So I could very much see there just being 1 game pack, maybe 1 expansion, maybe 1 stuff pack this year with kits in between. But I think if they're going to go for something similar similar to this year, then it would be 2 game packs. And on that, fairies and then a bands-like pack. We did get bands in late night stuff of Sims 3, so they haven't really touched on that part of the expansion pack that did come out then. And it's been one that I've been hearing a lot about. And if we can think anything of this year, they have been listening to us, and the content that we have wanted, they've given us. So hearing all the whisperings in the community, it would make sense for fairies and bands to come. And I'm not really an occult person. I don't quite know how they would do fairies, but we don't really have many whimsical worlds. We have a few little rabbit hole kind of lots that you can go into in Willow Creek and Oasis Springs. So it would be nice to have a full maybe 4 or 5 lot world that is all whimsical and fairy-like with little like houses. That would be really adorable, and I could definitely see them incorporating that. Only in a game pack, definitely not an expansion like all the other occults have been. So I think that could go really well. I swapped up this to start tracking some predictions. So bands, fairies, probably no expansion pack, but I think if they were to do an expansion pack, I personally would really want to see hotels and some sort of vacation-like world. Maybe it's got a little bit of a city space, maybe it's got a bit of a beach area, and you can have hotels in that. But given the functionality of For Rent and the fact that they would be very similar expansion packs, I don't see that happening this year. I think that that would be more 2025. But if I'm honest, I don't even know if they're going to be making a lot of content in 2025 because The Sims is so old now, and they're clearly starting to focus on a new game of Renee coming out. So I'm not sure, but I think I'd have to put it, in my personal opinion, I would love a hotels pack. There is some argument to be made for a future pack, but I just feel like in the 2020s, we haven't been focused on this high-tech flying cars future like we were in the 2010s and the 20s when those kind of things were coming out and the Into the Future pack of The Sims 3 was coming out. I just don't see that a lot in our media, in the shows that are coming out, the movies that are coming out, like you did when Back to the Future was a thing and they got 3 movies. So I don't really see that happening because I guess it could also be sad with climate change and everything. I kind of feel like they'll steer away from that, and I don't think that we'll get a carbon copy of Into the Future in The Sims 4, if I'm honest. I don't know, you guys can tell me if you actually want that, because it's not a thing that I ever played in The Sims 3. It wasn't really something that took me. I was a Horses Generations late night girly, and I never had Into the Future, so I'm not sure if it's any good. Moving on to one of the biggest shocks of 2023, stuff packs returning. I think we hadn't had a stuff pack since Paranormal in 2020, and we finally got one last year with Home Chef Hustle, which I actually had a lot of fun playing in. I don't love the creator sim of the pack. I find it too niche, but the kitchen set and all of the little kitchen appliances that we got and the little clutter and knickknacks, I actually love, and I'm using them constantly. The kitchen set is also beautiful, apart from the corner wall shelf, which I'm really not happy about, but what can you do? You can't like everything in a pack, and it was something they tried, and I personally hope they don't try again. It was fun to do the aspirations. It's a pretty good pack. The thing I find with stuff packs is they're really hard to predict because they could just do anything. And if we take Home Chef Hustle, it is basically a 2.0 of kitchen stuff. And I don't know if they're going to continue to do that. Maybe we'll get like a children's stuff pack. Considering we have a teenage expansion pack, we just got an infants expansion pack. Maybe they're going to try and focus on something for children this year. But we've already got children's stuff and toddler stuff, so they would have to do another kind of 2.0 in the same way Home Chef Hustle is. I just find those really, really hard to predict. And maybe another point that kind of leads into that I'm finding difficult is it's hard to make predictions when so much is in the game. For me personally, I think that every single one of my hobbies is now catered for in the game. I'm a skier, I'm a snowboarder, I like knitting, I like cross stitch, I do yoga, I'm a horse rider. There are so many things that actually are in the game now that I actually don't know any hobby that I do that is not represented. Obviously reading and being a streamer, being a content creator, that's in Get Famous now. So there's not much for them to add on my personal stance. There are things like archery, maybe athletics, being competitive in sport that they could definitely expand on. And I think that I would like that. Potentially cross-country running, though you can obviously go running, it's just not in an organized fashion. But the big one that is not represented that I do hear a lot of whisperings about is cars. Now, I think that they're never going to give us functional cars because I don't believe that the game will ever go open world. It's just not possible. It was built on a closed world system, literally from the ground up, that I don't think you could go that deep into the game to change that. I don't think that we're going to get functional cars that can take you from your work to your home, to your kids' schools, to your park or anything like that in an actual car. A lot of people have said that they just don't mind that and they would want a Sims 2 version where a car comes outside your house, it picks you up and then it like drives off into the distance and kind of vanishes. That would be okay for some people. And then I've also heard that people people just want mechanics and they just want to be able to fix the cars, maybe outside in your garage, maybe on the roadside, maybe you could have like a little tiny side business where you could fix cars up. I've heard a lot about that. Now, I could see them implementing it, considering I could never see them doing horses at one point or another. I could see them maybe implementing a mechanics game pack, stuff pack, something along those lines. I don't think it would be big. It's definitely not going to be an expansion pack. Personally, I don't mind too much. I'm not really a car enthusiast. I do drive, but what goes on under that bonnet is not my concern. I think it would be nice for people to get something related to cars, or even just to have more assets, maybe more garage doors or anything like that we can actually use on houses in a build mode. So maybe it could be a build kit. I just don't know how they're going to release a mechanics pack or a car pack or anything that isn't fully fledged cars that are like The Sims 3 in an open world without getting an absolute massive amount of backlash that I'm not sure they're quite ready to face. So I don't know if we're going to get that, but I know that a lot of people want it, so it would be fun to see, but it would have to be very small and contained and minimal. I left these to last because they are prediction free spots, because the Sims team have already confirmed that we are getting 2 new kits, and these were the ones that were voted on by us as the Simmers. So it was announced in around June last year, which is 6 months ago now, that we would be getting Goth Fashion and Medieval Castle coming to us early 2024. So I'm thinking between now and maybe April, these 2 will be out. So Goth Fashion is of course the Kaz kit and Medieval Castle would be the build kit. These won out to Rainbow Core Style Kaz kit and High Tech Futurism build kit. And these were the ones that were chosen. I actually didn't choose either of these, though I am glad that they won because they are so different from anything else that we have. Rainbow Core is something that you could find in high school and a bunch of other packs. There are always kind of rainbow outfits. My Wedding Stories is really great for that one too. High-tech futurism isn't something that we have so much. It would have been really fun to do that. It's kind of another reason that I don't think that we'll be getting a futuristic expansion pack, considering it didn't win the kit. Or maybe we will be. Maybe because it didn't win the kit, they're like, hey, let's do it for a big expansion pack. We actually really don't know. But Goth Fashion and Medieval is something that you genuinely cannot find in any other pack, I feel. Maybe Goth has a little bit in Werewolves and the Occults. But I'm really excited to have some mainstream fashion in a goth style rather than it being occult focused and kind of torn and shredded or vampire-y, which is its own style in itself. So I'm excited for that one. And then Medieval Castle. I'm gonna be honest here, I don't quite know how they're going to give us a full-fledged Medieval Castle kit. The kits come with around 25 items, maybe 20 to 25, and that is usually enough for one room. If you think of Industrial Loft Kit or Book Nook or even Modern Luxe, that's a heavy focus on bedrooms. I feel like Medieval Castle needs more, because how am I going to have a Medieval Castle with maybe a living room and some items for a bedroom and then just have nothing else? What it is going to be really good for, I'm really hoping, is wallpapers, because I feel like medieval castles have their own kind of wallpaper swatches that might not be really represented in The Sims at the moment. So I'm excited to see what they do with this one, but I don't think it's going to go far enough to be able to create entire medieval castle builds that look good and complete. Now, these ones definitely were free spaces in these predictions. I think this is my entire list of things that I think we might be getting in Sims 4 this year. There are obviously going to be loads more kits probably coming. If we look back at the last few years of kits releases, obviously we got 8 last year, and I do not have thoughts for 8 different ones. I can assume that they're going to give us a couple of clutter packs. They're going to give us some Kaz items. If I had it my way, I want something completely different for kits. I would like to see that slot that they probably had for gameplay kits, which obviously flopped when it came to Bust the Dust and they've never revisited. I want world kits. Let me spend $5 of my own money on a world. It doesn't even need to be furnished. It doesn't need to have any houses in for me. Just give me a new crest that has a different theme to it. I want a South African theme, maybe another Asian country or European or Scandinavian, something like that in a world. Let me just spend $5 on a blank world that I can create however I want to with 10 or 12 lots on it. And I think that's a worthy cause. I know that this is a little bit controversial. Not everyone is in the same page as me, but I bought a lot of the Sims 3 worlds. Back in the Sims 3, we had a lot of microtransactions, and one of those things was extra worlds. They did actually come with a lot of buildings and completely different vibes and styles, and I really liked that, and I would like to see it come back. I feel like kits are the perfect place. $5 is a fair price, especially for an empty world. It might be a little bit too steep, but if they have a few buildings in there, that could be really great, and I would love to see that. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I would love to see that. Now, finally, one of the things I have not touched on is not really a pack, so I'll put it in at the end here, is any refreshes that they might do. Now, I honestly don't think that they will be doing any. We didn't get any this year, and the only one that we have had is of Spa Date, which they did do a really good job of. I personally have only 2 requests. I know a lot of you want Dine Out, but I think the more broken pack and the pack that is worth the least amount of money in game pack terms is Outdoor Retreat. Personally, I do not like Outdoor Retreat. I find it too boring when you go on vacation. I don't really like the build style, though I sometimes use a couple of the items. It is really just a couple of the items. I don't really use much of the CADs either. I find it quite dated. So I would definitely like to see Outdoor Retreat refreshed. I do not expect it to happen, but that would be my want. And if they were going to go even further and be even cooler, giving us a free pack refresh of Get to Work feels like the only expansion pack that would need it, because Get to Work was the first expansion pack and it has so much less. I do not use any of the build buy. I do not use the world of that pack. I barely use the gameplay, if I'm honest with you, and it is so different from any of the packs that we got this year, Growing Together, Horse Ranch, or last year. Just every single expansion pack, in my opinion, is better than Get to Work. So I would like to see that one refreshed, but that's not gonna happen. I will not put that down on the list as a prediction because it's not going to happen, but those would be my wants. And I think that about brings us to the end. My final one is maybe for a few more pop-ups to happen. You know, when they have a limited time and you can go and see a concert with your Sims, or you can go do something particular. It'd be cool if they collaborated with, I don't know, Coachella, or maybe some African band or something for a bit more representation that we don't have. So anything like that would be awesome. And that's just me wanting more free stuff. But I think it's always fun, maybe just once a year or twice a year, a spring one and a fall one. I don't know. It would be really awesome if we had more things for our Sims to go do, but we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'm a little bit lost at the moment because I got all of what I wanted last year, but these are what I think might happen. And tell me if you agree in the comments down below. Tell me what you want and what you predict will come. Those are 2 very different things to me. So I want to know what you think in the comments down below. And if you are on bands and fairies, or if you want a hotels pack next year, or if you're excited for the new kids that we know are coming, let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I will probably make a video at the end of the year to see how wrong I was. And I'm expecting to be very wrong, but you never know. It could be exciting and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much for watching. I want to hear in the comments down below. I'll be replying to you all, and I hope you have an amazing week.